Hey everybody, I'm Lynn Petrick, Senior Editor, Progressive Grocer, and welcome to Top Women in Grocery. It's a podcast focused on the trends, topics, and interests that move women forward in grocery retail. We spotlight extraordinary women in the grocery industry who have successful careers and interesting lives, and who also make a positive impact in their workplaces and their communities. And I'm so pleased today to be joined by Teresa Tolentino, Director of Internal Communications at the Save Mart Company. Welcome, Teresa.
Hi, Lynn. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to share a little bit more of your background so our viewers and our listeners can get to know a little bit more about you. Teresa has more than 20 years of experience in employee communications, events and vendor management, community relations, and project management with industry-leading high-tech companies. She joined the Save Mart companies in February 2023 and is responsible for providing strategic and tactical team leadership for communications initiatives, message and content development to support business objectives and priorities. And she also leads key impact projects, events, and promotions. She has essentially reinvented the internal communications function and team during her time at Save Mart. Teresa earned a BA in journalism.
Yes.
I like that. Me too, from San Jose State University, and actually started her career in magazine journalism, so we have that in common. Prior to joining Save Mart, she was a global strategic people communications editor at Western Digital, and she spent a decade at Apple, where one of her roles was editor-in-chief. And she's quite active outside of work. She's passionate about children and animal advocacy. She shares her time and her talent with several food service organizations, including Rise Against Hunger, Second Harvest Food Bank, Second Harvest of the Greater Valley, and the Sacramento Food Bank and Family Services. She served as a court-appointed special advocate for child advocates of Silicon Valley and is also a Humane Society volunteer, an event activity leader, and a presenter for Junior Achievement of Northern California. That is quite impressive background, and we're so excited that you're sharing some of your insights with us today, Teresa.
Thank you, Lynn.
And to give us, our audience, an idea of the scope of your work as head of internal communications, what are we went over some of your main responsibilities, but do you have a typical day? And is that kind of the beauty of your work that maybe you don't?
My typical day starts with an Americano and a few extra shots of espresso, but in all seriousness.
I like that. Me too.
But in all seriousness, every day is different. So I don't follow a regular routine. I attend a lot of meetings during the course of a day, which can be in the form of a walkthrough at a store or a video shoot with our executives. But pretty much every day, I do come to work with the mindset of how can I drive associate awareness for our key company moments, and in what creative way can I better connect with our store teams?
And do you bring some of you have such a varied and impressive background. Do you bring some of those skills to your work every day? I'm sure you do. Obviously, you have strong communication skills and tech skills. Yeah,
definitely. Communications is sort of across the board, right? So just applying that into the grocery industry. And I love what I do. So as a store support associate myself, I often put myself in the shoes of our store teams. That's how kind of I envision how I write and message. And I think about what's important to know. Is the information I'm getting or receiving really of interest to me? But most importantly, do I feel valued, and are my contributions making an impact when I see that message, up there? I just feel that the work we do fosters goodwill. It helps really boost morale and allows us to be more invested in our company and our communities.
And it really sounds like you balance your people skills and your tech skills. Today's the day and age. That's what you have to do.
Right, exactly. But what I do find constant in my job is writing, right? Which I happen to love. You already know.
You can tell.
Whether it's break room TV messaging about our support of a nonprofit, or a grand store, a store grand reopening feature, or a key executive message, memo, or an article on a milestone anniversary. Really not a day goes by where I don't get to craft a message that captures a defining moment for the company. So I truly value my, my communications role here. And it's gratifying to know when I can keep associates well informed and they feel more connected to us.
Well, and it can be probably challenging with so many different people across many different banners and geographies. So what are some of those challenges? Because you have to keep things cohesive, yet really kind of tailored.
Yeah. So messaging is not one size fits all, right? So Our goal is to ensure that our messages resonate with everyone in the organization. This means keeping Save Mart, Lucky, and FoodMax information relevant and focused on what affects our associates directly. So Save Mart and Lucky are conventional stores, and while FoodMax is a value base, so they follow a different model. Certain campaigns that run in Save Mart and Lucky don't necessarily apply to FoodMax, so the messaging differs. Also, our Bay Area customer base is different than that of the Valley, and we adapt messaging according to the market. My team and I really work especially hard to differentiate and tailor the communications we develop for each of our banners and geographies.
And it's probably a fun challenge too, because you can tap into your background, again, and do that because
Yep.
it's rising to that challenge. It's kind of fun and probably
Yep.
rewarding.
Absolutely.
And when you get the feedback. And so I was really interested in learning about break room TV. So that helped solve some of the challenges, and it sounds so cool. So tell us a little bit more about it and how it's been received, Teresa.
Yeah, absolutely. So the break room TV, or BRTV, we call internally, is really a critical communication tool for providing the information to our store associates. For those who don't know, we've installed five BRTVs in all 205 of our stores. The monitors reside in the break room, hence the break room TV. So associates have access to current events and information at any given time. So we rotate about 10 to 15 slides per day, and prior to my joining the company, about 100 BRTVs were offline. And we are now at, happy to report, 95% online engagement, right? And then most of our store associates don't have access to email or our intranet site, which is what we call the hub. So the convenient and quickest way that store associates can receive information is to see what we post on the BRTVs. So we change the content daily, and updates happen several times throughout the week. And the BRTVs are visual, so associates can see photos or videos of their colleagues and store leadership and even themselves. So content is really tailored to each store. So, for example, FoodMax would only receive employee anniversary information that rotate on the FoodMax monitors, right? So that's relevant to them. And then it's also the place where we showcase free giveaways, contests, a recognition, and promotions. So the feedback I've received since I've joined the company and revamped the BRTV program has been really great. I love it when I'm at the stores covering an event and associates ask me, am I going to be featured on the BRTV? Or they'll say, I can't wait to be recognized on screen. It's really the best feedback we can hope for.
And that goes hand in hand with some of your talent and the HR work that they're doing, trying to keep engagement high and productivity high. When people are engaged, they're all in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, our associates are foremost in my mind. And, that's our goal and focus, definitely.
And I would imagine that's pretty well received across all age groups. Do you see that too, Teresa? Like, because you have wide age groups of employees.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The
Teenagers
age
on
group,
up.
we're trying to appeal, making our messages more fun, more graphics, more color, things like that. And so we're just, really focused on trying to reach and get our employees to engage more with us. And we solicit feedback too. Like, we welcome anything. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I really want to recognize my peer, and they'll send information, and we'll follow up with that, just so that they really our associates love seeing their colleagues like up on screen and featured, and even their teams.
And Break Room TV, what a great name.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
So literal, right? Break room TV.
No, it is, but it's great. And I think that's one reason why it definitely resonates with people. And, we talked about how you work with different people across store levels, and you also work with different people across levels of the organization, frontline associations to senior leadership at the corporate office. But what are some fundamental aspects of communications that are effective in messaging? Do you have any kind of fundamental principles that apply for whoever you're talking with or engaging with?
Yeah. So to me, messages should be clear, concise, and relevant, right? So my word choices, the tone, even the visuals that we use all shape how the communication is received. So as an example, the IT department periodically wants to send out communications about transitioning to a new platform or software update. IT isn't, a lot of people aren't really versed in IT or are really technical in a lot of aspects of it. So, like, the first draft they'll receive isn't the final version that's distributed to our associates. So I have to transcribe the message from a technical version from from a technical standpoint to layman's terms. So internal comms really implements this process for a lot of the departments, such as accounting or merchandising and others. And it speaks to the clarity of our messages.
And listening has to be so important to
Oh,
what you do, because you're speaking in voice, different
yeah,
voices. So
exactly.
you really need to listen. Is that a skill you've always had, or a skill that
Oh
you
yeah,
recommend people?
absolutely, absolutely. You have to listen, and like I said, I always put myself in the shoes of the person reading it at all levels, right? So if I can't even follow along, then I'm like, oh, something is not right here. So I have to correct that and really go back to the subject matter expert and ask them to clarify it so that the messaging that I put out there will be more clear and, of course, concise.
And in some cases, you have to get messages out so fairly quickly if there's a case of a natural disaster. We've all seen something like that happen over the past year. In some cases, things have to go kind of rapidly. So you have to
Yep.
think on your feet too, right,
Yep,
Teresa?
absolutely. Yep. That's kind of a requirement, thinking on your feet quickly, shifting, be able to like just really be flexible to adapt to what the company's needs are.
And do you like that about the industry, that it's fast paced and it's just, you just never know what day is going
Yeah, I
to.
actually do. If things aren't fast paced, I'm thinking like, what's going on? I need to be like more alert, moving or doing something critical, right? Like, so I adapt really well. I actually work well in high pressure situations. I know that might be strange for some, but I really thrive on that kind of environment. So I'm just trying quick to pivot to whatever is needed.
And you mentioned you get out to store openings. That has to
Mhm.
be a lot of fun too. That's one of
Yeah,
my
that
favorite
is.
things to cover.
Yeah.
So is that
Oh my
pretty?
gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot of work. A lot of things happen behind the scenes before we have the grand reopening. But the excitement, the shoppers, and just everyone, the associates, all the hard work to see it all come together, and then also interact with our community. It's really a great event, and that we always look forward to. So
It's very dynamic. And I
yeah.
imagine too, on the flip side, when you walk into a store and things are busy and no one knows necessarily that you're there, you're
Yeah.
probably observing and
Oh
listening and
yes.
yeah, getting fodder all the
Yep.
time.
Yep. I think it's great, right? So I can actually observe real time, real things that happen there without sugarcoating or anything, and just really be able to address or even see. It's like getting feedback, but they don't know they're giving you feedback, right?
I
So
love
that's how
that.
I
I
look
love
at
that
it.
on the ground for
Yep,
sure.
exactly.
And you
Boots on
work
the ground
probably
there.
with the leadership team too at the headquarters too, and that's different kind of skills, but yeah, I would imagine it's the same
Yeah, absolutely.
kind of talent that goes with it. And what do you like about this industry in terms of just its role nourishing people? Because you have a strong background in helping others. What do you like about the grocery in that sense, Teresa? What do you find personally rewarding?
Yeah. Prior to joining the Save Mart company, I spent my entire career in high tech. I never even imagined I'd end up in the grocery industry. So I was really fortunate to work and start my career at Apple. And, where obviously I worked for 10 years, managing worldwide sales support communications, then to um, Western Digital in a strategic people communications role with a global base of 60,000. So the interaction with various different people and, a big employee base has really helped me navigate, aspects of the industry. So, but if I had known I love working in grocery so much, I probably would have shifted my career sooner to
Oh, I
retail.
love it.
So what I like about this industry is it's really relatable. I mean, who doesn't shop and eat, right?
Yeah, we all ought to eat. We always say that, right?
Yeah. And the people here, my goodness, are among the most dedicated and resilient I know. I'm in awe when I do a feature story on an associate who's been in the company for like 25, 35, and even 50 years. And about hearing our executives starting out as a bagger or a janitor and how now they lead the company. I mean, they know the business from top to bottom. I mean, wow, that's incredible. I mean, I'm just like really in awe of that. And of course, the products and services we provide are essential to daily life, right? Something we can't live without. So that's important. And, doing something in an industry where I know it's so important is very gratifying.
And I think we are kind of unique in that way. Maybe food service is a little bit similar, but people that started off again when you're 16 years old and you're a
Yeah.
bagger, and then you move up to a CEO, finding those stories, just boy, that's got to bring out the journalist in you too.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh my
just
God. I'm full
it's
of
very
questions. I
moving.
have a lot to ask. And I really, it really is fascinating how working your way up just really in the grocery industry and just loving that industry to be there that long is amazing.
And, hopefully we'll keep that in the future. That's why I think it's so important to engage some of the younger workers. Do you have younger people on your staff too, Teresa? Do you like to mentor some of the younger
Yeah,
people in your
I do have
department?
younger people on my staff, the millennials, right? And I
Yeah,
do love to mentor them, and they're so great. They really look to me to guide and just kind of, share things that I've learned throughout the years in my career. And I'm always happy to do that. And it just makes us a better team altogether. Like our synergy is good, and I'm always open to ideas. I love hearing very. Open to what they think and how that can make us just better.
love that. And then you're active outside of work too. So you find time, you're so busy, but yet you find
Yeah.
time to do so many things in your community. And how is that rewarding too, in terms of just, as a holistic person? Because in our industry, there's a lot of people
Right.
that volunteer like that. How does that kind of make you sometimes better at what you do at work and just, in a holistic way?
Yeah, I just, I really love volunteer work. I remember when, even I'm stuffing backpacks or filling, bags with rice so that it can be shipped for people who need it. It's like the time goes by and you don't even realize it. And knowing that someone's going to benefit from that, really great heartwarming feeling. And whether it's children or for hunger or even, pets, like I spent an hour at um, the shelter for the dogs and just socializing with them. And they just like really need, even just like you're petting and just that, I think the emotional connection to it is just, I can't even describe it. It just gives you that overall feeling and you feel like you so accomplished something for the day, like when you've done it. So
And then
that's how
again,
I
that kind of
feel.
comes back to the mission of what you do and the mission of the
Yes.
industry.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
kind of comes full circle. And so the last question, we ask this of all of our guests on the Twig podcast: what are some items from Save Mart that might be in your own cart as a shopper?
Well, definitely produce. So our produce aisles are always so nicely stacked and displayed beautifully. So it always catches my attention. Sometimes I go over there, I don't have to pick up anything in produce and just like looking at all the colors and the vibrant colors of the fruits and the vegetables and all the greens, the fresh greens, right? Like that's there. And then of course I also regularly shop for pastries at our stores who make some of the best desserts. When I'm at a store, like for any event, photo shoot, or even the grand reopening, I was stopped by when I passed by the bakery. I'm like feeling so hungry, prepared foods, and it smells so good in there. And of course, I only buy our brand's milk, Sunnyside Farms. So that's I really do. It I really do like all the products that we sell at the Save Mart companies.
And it's kind of funny because we could be in this industry as long as we are. And yeah, you're right. When you go to a store visit, even when I'm finished, I'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to go and get my cart.
Exactly. Oh, our meeting's over. Let me just pick up my lunch here. At the prepared foods
Exactly.
area. It's
You got
wonderful.
to walk the walk, and put it on the conveyor
Exactly.
belt too. And roll it
Exactly.
right along. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Teresa, for joining us today. I really appreciate you making this happen. The industry is lucky to have you, and so are we today. So thank you so much for
Thank
your
you so
time.
much, Lynn. I so enjoyed talking with you. Thank you for allowing me to, address your listeners or viewers.
Anytime, anytime. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And if you have an idea for a podcast, we want to hear from you. So feel free to reach out to me at lptrack@ensembleiq.com. See you next time. And thanks so much for listening.